Hello, and thank you for coming to the 10th Lake County Film Festival. This is the Q&A session for Oh My God, What the Fuck Shorts Program. I'm very happy to have with me here Richard Jones, boop, from Oh Dear, and Patrick O'Brien, boop, from Moneyhead, Moneybag Head. Sorry, I don't know. It's Saturday night. I'm ready for a nap.
Yeah.
So this was my first time programming any sort of midnight shorts, and I just thought it was great. I would have normally tried to figure out somewhere to fit these crazy films, especially when I don't usually have like a horror feature or really any feature that's kind of like this. And so it was great, especially you, Patrick, since you're so long. I'm always looking for something to sort of center it around. And the fact that you were so 16 minutes and just weird all the way through was one of the things where it made me go, oh hey, I yes, I could come up with enough time to fill this crazy ass shorts program. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm honored.
I want to know first where each of you got your ideas for your films from. Richard, and hopefully people will have already seen your films, so we don't have to worry about spoilers. But Richard, where did you get the idea for this fable?
Um, we're all the great content in the world's coming from right now. It's from I got it from Twitter in a way. I had a friend of mine that talked about hitting a deer on Twitter, and he's a really like one of the nicest filmmaker vegan guys you've ever met. And I originally thought about like what would happen to him and his friend if they'd hit it and decided to put it out of its misery, and wrote kind of this like very broad comedy about two guys trying to kill a deer with a Volkswagen key. And then the more I thought about it, though, I wanted to have a little more resonance to it, and I love to try to involve that's my son that's in the short, and for me to create that resonance, I thought I could change it to a father son story, kind of with some of the same scenario and the struggle for connection.
Cool. Patrick, I don't even know where to begin. Where where did you get the idea for someone that has a bag of money on their head? What does this story mean to you, and how did you craft it?
Well, I mean, I guess the idea comes basically from just me always kind of, I don't know, that old political cartoon of Boss Tweed from the 1800s, with the fat cat with the money bag for a head. I always like to draw, and I always was drawn to sort of ink drawings and just cool old drawings. And so that was always kind of burned in my head. And then I was in a situation where I had to come up with like a lot of ideas really fast. And once I exhausted all of the old ideas, this was sort of the first one that fell, and I had no more ideas on my computer or in my brain. This just kind of like came to me fully formed. And but the thing that changed was that I first conceived of it as just some kind of animated thing. But then as I was actually writing it, I was like, oh, I want to see this live action with sort of a light touch of like practical special effect, just sort of like what would like the Jim Henson kind of, the main inspiration film wise that I looked to was the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which I love. And I just love I just love the level of like movie like suspension of disbelief, and so that, yeah, then so just as I was writing it, it kind of just grew into something a little bigger than I initially conceived of. But it was, yeah, I'm a visual artist first, and before I ever got into writing or anything. So that's just kind of where it came from, that political cartoon, and just being drawn to that kind of just kind of, I seeing it, and then also wondering, what if this poor guy actually was born this way, and it was sort of an Elephant Man take on this guy, that was so symbolically loaded. So that was kind of like, it was like, what if the guy was real, and like a romantic comedy version of the Elephant Man with some like ham-fisted, like old-fashioned political commentary mixed in.
I love like science fiction that just has the tiniest twist. Are there more people with Moneybag heads? Are there people born with monocles on their face? Like what is there anything else strange in this world?
It's I guess in the world it probably happens like, because that's the thing. It's like people are weirded out by him, and they're kind of like it's like a slightly different version of reality where people are weirded out by him, but not enough. They're sort of like, hey, rich boy. It's like, so I assume it's probably a rare thing, but like he's not the only one. But his parents don't look like that. It was just sort of a just genetic. I don't know, just sort of one of those medical things. But that was important to me when I was writing it. I was like, at least in one scene, I need to show an X-ray of him just to make it super clear that because people say, hey, what's with the mask to the character. So I wanted it to be very clear that he's flesh and blood, and it, just looks this way.
Oh yeah, we show a lot of documentaries about social issues, and I almost expected a little card at the end to say, 1 in 10,000 people are born with a money bag for a head.
Well, that was kind of my goal, was to take the stupidest idea and sort of apply like as much, not only like just treat it as real as I could, and that wound up into like, I wanted people for a second to forget how stupid the premise is and actually feel for the guy. That was sort of my goal, was to make people temporarily forget that he looks weird, which I don't know if it probably depends on the viewer if that actually, but I felt good about that. So it kind of just became a challenge to me to like make you care about an idea this dumb and actually make it not dumb. So or it's like dumb, but more than dumb, I guess. But yeah, so that became my goal.
Cool. Richard, can you tell us about shooting, about the production of Oh Dear? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are probably a lot of difficulties. Fake deer, nighttime shooting, kid actors who are usually horrible to work with, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I used my son, was you can kind of be horrible, or no. I mean, just so, because I mean, having to deal with other parents or somebody else's kid, like my son, he's really malleable, and I feel like he'll respond to the things that I give him. But I mean, also there's moments where he was delivering his lines with his eyes closed because it's a night shoot, and I'm like, I need you to open your eyes and say the lines, and so. Dealing with things like that. With the deer, like I got a guy named Eric Zapata who's actually been on the show Face Off and has worked on like the show Fear the Walking Dead. Face Off's like the cooking show for artists that like make monster costumes and stuff. And I think he was really intrigued by trying to create a deer or something real that wasn't a monster. And we spent over kind of a year really putting that together, trying to get that right. And then it took us. There was a crazy number of lightning storms. I started trying to shoot that in the end of December of 2019 or 2018. And then it took us like, I think we shot it in June. And so every weekend I had planned to shoot it, a lightning storm would break out. And we had, just with all the lighting and everything for a night shoot, you can't have lightning. Kind of a problem,
right?
Trying not to murder people on my shoots. It's a small bar, just so it was kind of those were some of the main things I felt like. But I'd had a friend that works on some stuff and really told me try to get the monster right before you shoot, and so I really took that to heart. A friend named Clay Lyford, who's done some films, and I'm trying to learn and do the best I can. I've normally done more as an actor. This is my second project to direct, and I kind of just wanted to try to not screw it up too bad. But it was also trying to do something simple that I thought was doable. But then it's like I created this we had this monster and a kid, so that does make it a little more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a kind of a one joke short film, but I mean, those are necessary too. I mean, not in this program, but especially because it's all weird stuff. But I'm always looking for something kind of fun to lighten the mood in between some other stuff. I had a Q&A for the guns program, which has a very a couple very heavy shorts. So I found a gun comedy to stick in between there. Patrick, obstacles in shooting. How did you make the Moneybag Head, and how did he breathe? And
that was I guess probably the only real obstacle was it was hard to breathe in that thing, and I think it smelled weird too from whatever. So the woman who did our costume, the clothes, the costume design, Lauren Opel, she's really great. She's also worked on like bigger kind of monster movie type stuff, and is also just has like a really fun like sensibility. I did drawings, and she, in addition to doing the wardrobe, made a series of heads, made I think 6 different heads. So it was almost like it was just a basic sort of puppet action on the main heads. We didn't have a lot of time or money to like really do like animatronics or anything, but that's kind of what I wanted to go for. I wanted it to be, to rustle a little bit as though it was a regular mouth under a layer of burlap. So not be a pure puppet, but not a pure flapping, but like the effect of some rustling under there. But yeah, she made them in a really short amount of time, and for cheap. And yeah, then it was just because we were also using fog while shooting in certain scenes. So I think the combination of the fog and the heads, it was tough we had to take some breathing breaks. But yeah, I guess that was everything else. I feel like I got really lucky with. That was, and even that was like, I wasn't wearing it. The poor actor Chris was wearing it. But yeah, other than that, I feel lucky that I got to make it, and especially to have finished it before the pandemic. Not that I had any idea that a pandemic was looming, but I know a lot of people and I'm sure you guys do too, who's in one way or another, like short film got interrupted, or their festival plans changed a lot. People who were programming them and being in them. So yeah, I feel just lucky to have gotten to finish it before the world ended for a little while there.
I have asked a decent number of people this week if they've gotten to see their films with a live audience yet. Have you guys gotten to see that?
Not really. My casting crew screening. Yeah.
Same. We had. Yeah. Same. But I did watch. I had one creepy experience right before. It was like first week of March, right before lockdowns began, and I was had a DCP made, so I needed to go to a theater to test it out. So I sat completely alone. It felt like a Resident Evil game or something, like completely alone in a movie theater, and watched it just to make sure the color looked okay and everything. But no one was there to see it. So as of yet, I have not had a theater screening that I've been with other people for.
And did the DCP end up getting used?
Not yet, no. But it looked great. So yeah, it was like it was like, it was that week. I was like, I got to, there was some I needed to, it needs to be in ASAP, and then everything went away for, so, but it's ready.
Yeah. I talked to somebody who basically got in right under the wire, and their premiere was like a week before quarantine. They were already operating 50% capacity, not 15% capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Patrick, I have not gotten any good answers for this yet, but we've been showing a lot of films with known actors in them, and I know that one thing writers, directors, producers are always wondering is how can I get my script to actors? So how did you get Henry to be in your film?
Well, I'm the biggest Henry Rollins fan from way back. I've read a lot of his books. I was super into Black Flag and, Rollins Band. I saw him do spoken word, shows in Buffalo, where I'm from. And so oh, nice. Yes. I had the,
a lot of my library is still downstairs, but yeah. I don't have my signed stuff up here, but
that was probably the first one I read, Get in the Van, and I had the audiobook on CD. It was like a 2 CD audiobook that I listened to, and then I read like the portable Henry Rollins, which was like a sampler. Anyway, so I was very excited when I got to meet him, which was a couple times before he did the short. I used to work at, and still kind of work with, Funny or Die. I was a writer director there and still do stuff with them, but he came in to do some video that I wasn't involved with, and I got to meet him, and that was just like a fanboy experience. But then I had this series that I did at Funny or Die called The Shirtless Painter, which is sort of a Bob Ross type show, but I had guests on, and I was like, well, a producer who worked there, who's a friend of mine, was like, he was on my wish list, and he was at one point, he's like, Pat, you like go into the conference room. I have Henry Rollins on the phone for you. And I was like, holy shit. So I talked to him on a speakerphone, and then we did the, Shirtless Painter episode, which was amazing. I was like painting on his body around, like, adding new tattoos to his body and stuff. So since then I just stayed in touch with him kind of through his partner, Heidi, who's really cool, Heidi May, and they're just cool. When it came time to cast this, it was just like a total favor. He's like the nicest dude ever. So I don't know, like, it was definitely the Funny or Die connection that got me to meet him in the first place, but it was just the fact that we made it work with his schedule. He was coming back from Australia, like hanging out with Iggy Pop for Iggy Pop's like birthday or something, so they just made time, and it was like very lucky. But he's the best. Yeah, he's as cool as he's as hardcore and Rollins as you'd want him to be, but he's also a very sweet, like, gentlemanly guy too. I think he's softened up in his old age and is like really nice now.
Yeah, I met him a couple times. Actually, the big thing I got signed was I have a Minute Flag cassette, and I had Mike Watt sign it, and and my goal was to get everyone still alive to sign it, but that was as far as I got.
Oh yeah, he's super cool. Like, he'll talk to he'll like.
Oh shit! I just remembered. I was on a game show that he was a judge.
Oh really? What show?
It was called Ultimate Film Fanatic.
Oh wow! When was that's amazing? That's is there a clip online or?
Yeah, oh yeah, the whole thing's online. Yeah, sure.
Oh nice.
If you want.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah.
But it was at a real high point of my life when I was there. I had recently bought my video store, which is my local video record store. So I bought it, and it was a year after I started this film festival, and I was on the show, and I talked to him, and he was a real, around that time I was thinking about the people who most influenced my philosophy or influenced where I was going, and he was on that list, and I talked to him for a little bit. After he was on this jury that decided that I was on this game show, and he was great. I mean, he was super great. Yeah. So Richard, where's the film been, and where are you going?
This is the last festival for a while, honestly. I haven't been pushing it real hard because I think it's just hard to know what I want to do with it even. But I mean, it played in Fantasia and it played in Austin Film Festival, which are two festivals that I really, are, have been excited about for a while to play in and things like that. I live in Austin, so I love the Austin Film Festival too. But I mean, I think I haven't honestly come up with a plan for like when I want to release it online. It feels like with COVID, maybe I should do that sooner. But I have a producer that's like, oh, we need to sit on it for a while. So I don't know. I maybe see where things are at in a month and push forward on something there. But I'm really excited to be something right now. So it's kind of a weird time to try to navigate it. Normally, you're just like, oh yeah, I want to be in like as much as possible, but I'm kind of sad that I can't come to your festival, or like that's just not an option for these festivals. I mean, this is great, but I think part of the fun is being able to meet people like you two, and the relationships and kind of the collaboration you can build out of these festivals potentially. So
yeah, I was hoping people would use the Discord more, but I'm trying to think of in the new year, maybe making another Discord that might be, not specific to my festival, so that just filmmakers can, meet and talk about other festivals they're in or something like that. I put a little room that said other film festivals, but I thought maybe a bigger server that wasn't just for my festival might be something that would interest people.
I think the hard thing with some of that is getting to know people and not just like pimping your own stuff where you feel like you're coming across like a douchebag just looking to pimp your own stuff. And, and like, how do you get to know people in a real way and ask questions that feels still organic, like in the same way you'd sit around and talk, or, you feel like you're trying to generate it, or I feel like I'm trying to be funny sometimes in some of these Discords, and it's just like nothing. You get maybe one response or what, it just all feels like trying to do comedy to a empty room sometimes, or I don't know. Yeah, it's just I don't know. And maybe I'm just bad at it.
Well, a friend of mine, Justin, has been posting in some various things. Just whenever he watches something, he's been posting about it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there is a big hole with COVID. Out there, and I'd like to be able to connect with more people in the film world, through other methods. What's next for you, Richard? Do you have anything that you're planning for next year to shoot or write, or?
Right now I'm producing on a documentary, and that's kind of keeping me busy. We're in post right now and trying to work through that. So that's kind of the main project that I'm working on.
Is it about anything you can tell us about?
It's about a Palestinian Christian farmer in the West Bank trying to hold on to his farm. And so I think it, kind of shifts some paradigms for a lot of people, hopefully. And, just makes people maybe think about things in a different way than they tend to see at it. But we'll see what comes of all that. I think it's a really good story to be told. I think the guy's trying to be kind of an MLK of that world, as far as a peaceful protest in the midst of something where there's so much violence. And honestly, that's been really inspiring to me, because there's so much, we're aware of the political climate currently. And I think it's really hard for me not to be angry at people. And I don't want to be angry at so many people, but I am. And watching what he's lost and what's happened around them, and kind of learning and educating myself even more on some of that, like, it's been inspiring to myself and helped me push harder to find a way forward with people in my life, which is probably a good thing for me, if nothing else.
Cool. Patrick, what's next for the film? What's next for you?
Yeah, for the film, I'm in a similar boat. This is kind of the last festival for a while, until the ones that got canceled wholesale for a whole year, and that like I'm sort of resubmitted for come around. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's always that kind of December, January, like big gap, and a lot of people don't know what else is going on until next year.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I'd love to get some kind of in-person screening of it. That would be cool. But then, it's been in a few other festivals, and it's watchable on the LA Shorts Fest site for a little while, I think. I similarly was like, I don't know, all these things that would be kind of more clear questions in a normal year, like what's my online premiere? What do I want to do before premiering it online or whatever, are sort of all different. But yeah, for me, I have a show that I'm working on, or developing an animated show that is an animated version of this sort of web series that my friends and I have been doing for a long time called Long-Haired Businessmen. So it's just that. It's a bunch of businessmen who all happen to have long hair, and just kind of talk in circles about just meaningless kind of business jargon. So that we're excited about. That's kind of like, we'll be working on that early in the new year. But yeah, right now, just we had my wife and I had a baby early in COVID, so that's been that's colored our experience of the whole pandemic in a good way, but it's kept us busy too.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how different it would be. The pandemic would be if I didn't have kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's always at least something to focus your attention, there's always a next thing to do. So, that keeps you probably sane and, tired.
I had something I was going to ask and I lost it again. Long-haired businessman. Yeah, I lost it. I was going to say at one point, though, that, yeah, it's been really strange. So many films have been going, like, just jumping to the online platforms, especially features. Have just been holding off. Films that were set to premiere at South by July were already just on Vimeo.
Yeah. And like, most of the stuff I made prior to this was like, internet stuff, which is great. I learned how to do it that way. But like, I was excited because this was going to be the first, like, I've made a short film before, but this was going to be like the first little movie that was actually going to be showing in theaters. So I still do want to have that experience. But on the other hand, it sort of levels there's been positives to it too, because more people you don't have to physically go to watch it. You can, like, people who wouldn't otherwise be going to film festivals can see it. And it's also kind of like, I don't know. It just feels like it's levels the playing field between very indie stuff and major studio stuff, because we're all watching it the same way. It's like it's being consumed the exact same way now. So
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. It's nice talking to you. And he disappeared. He was on a phone. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for including me. And yeah, it was great. It was great hanging with you. Thanks for, and if you have time, send me that clip of that show with sure. Henry. Yeah.
The whole show is up online. I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but well, actually, I'll just talk to you in a second if you want. Thanks everyone for coming, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good Saturday night.